Alright, today we're working on a 2017 Tundra 4x4 off-road. We're going to be doing brake replacement on this one today, only the front. And then I'm also going to do an oil change after. And then clean up the engine bay, clean up the wheels, get this thing running nice and pretty again. He said the brakes were pretty shot, but we'll get a better view here in a second. So get these off. You want to loosen them up before you take the wheel off. That way you can get the wheel off. It's much easier. If you try to get it off when it's jacked up, it becomes really hard to do. So get these loosened up. Usually want to use a breaker bar, not a torque wrench, but this works just as fine. And then once they're all loose and it's jacked up, you just hit it with the impact wrench much quicker. We're all good to go. Woo! I use this bottle jack here. Get the truck up, give me enough space to get the wheel off the ground. These two pins will slide out once I take these clips off, and your calipers just sit right here. So not much actually holding the brakes in. So once we get these components off, we can slide the pads off, and then I'll show you back here, but we gotta unclip that bolt so that we can hang the caliper. It'll sit right there while we take the rotor off. 19s. Finally got the rotor off. It was stuck on there pretty hard, so I just had to give it some hits with the old hammer, and came right off. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, get some of that rust off, and then we'll begin the installation. Well, wire brush here. Just like that. The rotor here. The manufacturer oils these up. Um, you need to remove that. You don't need that on there. So hit it with some brake cleaner on both sides before you put it back on. Clean that up. Yeah, like don't need that. Put one of these on. Clean it. I'll help hold it into place while I clean it here. Yeah, look at all that. I don't want that. You want a nice surface for those fresh pads to grab onto. And there's a specific lubricant in there as well, so you want it nice and clean. So this looks good. We're going to begin cleaning the caliper up and then putting everything back on. And tighten these first. Don't hit this with an impact. These need to be torqued down to a specific spec. Also, I want to point out other videos that I've seen, they make you take off this, or they say that you need to take off this wheel speed sensor down here. You don't actually need to do that. This is all clipped up, and then you have to remove a bunch of stuff. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is remove this bolt right here, which I believe is a 12 millimeter, and then you can rest your caliper over here. You just have to remove this one clip, and it's just a little tiny plastic piece that pops right out of here. Super easy. Right. Brake line hardware's back on there, nice and tight. I have these C clamps that I'm going to compress these cylinders with. So you need to push these pistons down so that the new pads can slide back in there. So these clamps help just keep it compressed, or compress it, and then I can slide everything in there. All right, so that should be good. Got the torque wrench ready. We're going to torque it down to 75 foot-pounds. That's what Toyota says. So we're going to get it nice and tight. Make sure that calipers are not going anywhere. There's one. There's two. All right, caliper's good. Pistons have been compressed, so we're gonna slide the new pads in there. I'm gonna grease up one side and then pop them back in. Fresh caliper, nice and thick. Do not put the caliper grease on this side. Goes on this side. You don't need to use a crazy amount. Need to compress those cylinders more. Right. We're greased up. Oops. Get lined up. Do the same thing with the other pad. All right, second pad going in. We're greased up. Should just slide right in. Perfect. Got the clips installed again. Super easy. They just slip into the side of the caliper and you feed it through. And this one just clips right in. Super easy. You just take a picture of it before and you can reference that when you're putting it back on. But these are good to go. I'm going to hit it with some brake cleaner and then put the wheel back on. And that's how you do a Tundra brake replacement. All right, we got the truck down off the bottle jack. I hit these with the impact wrench first just to get the lugs on, and then you have to torque it down to 95 to 100 foot-pounds to lock these back on. And that'll be it for this side, and I'll hit the other side, and the brakes will be good. I had to take off this shield. I believe there are three 12-millimeter bolts holding that on. And the oil filter is actually right there. You need a specific tool, and I'll show that here in a second. Get the filter off. This is the piece that you need. Sell them on Amazon. But right there, I got my ratchet. So you take this piece off first, and then use the filter to get the internals out. This is pretty gross. Needed to be replaced. This is the new one, same exact thing. We're going to replace the gaskets here, which come brand new with this filter kit. This one goes on that little piece, and then this one goes on the bigger rung right here. And you just lube it up a little bit, and then pop this in, screw it back on, and you're all set with the new filter. First one was 25 newton meters on the filter, this little cap. And then this cap, it actually says right here, Tighten plug to 13 newton meters. The cabin air filter is in the glove box. You just have to pull out this little leveling tray. And then it's right in here. This slides up and out. And then you just pop the new one in. Super easy.